Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Why PR or public relations should be part of your marketing strategy. Now, I know you might be thinking to yourself, I don't want to be in the news, I don't want to be out there talking about my business. But here's 4 reasons why I think PR should actually be part of your marketing plan. Okay. Now, if you're passionate about doing the work that you're meant to be doing and living an inspired life while you're doing it, you are in the right place. As you have heard, the Online Prosperity Experience, which is this podcast that you're listening to right now, is there to help coaches and consultants like you that want to build a brand that they're proud of and create a lifestyle that you love. And one of the things that you can actually do to leverage your growth, especially this day and age, is to use the power of public relations or PR. Now, you might be thinking, I don't want to be in the media. I don't want people to, publicity is usually a burden when people get to know more about your business. I also have to tell you that the other side of that coin would actually help you leverage the business growth that you might be out there looking for, and you can actually build a lot of brand awareness when it comes to creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. You might find yourself as a coach or consultant right now, you're probably cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face, or you're sending out hundreds of emails without even generating any qualified leads, or having people thank you for actually reaching out to them. It's because they don't know who you are. If you leverage the power of PR, you, my friend, would actually be in the public space and be creating a lot more momentum than you'll be able to do by yourself. And I can assume as a coach or consultant, you need to be smart with your budget, and you need to maximize the return of investment that you're putting in your business in order for you to grow it and also pay yourself, live the lifestyle that you love, and also maybe support the growth of your business. I know it's a nice thought and everything else, but how do you manage this? You can actually use the leverage that PR brings to the table. And that's why if you are good at public relations or PR, and put it as part of your business marketing strategy, you will actually see a really good return on the investment. And it's not really hard to do for yourself once you know what to do. In as much as all you got to do is make sure you've got an eye for it and you're always attentive to what journalists are looking for. But also, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I know it's a fair assumption that, a lot of coaches and consultants have a vague idea of what publicity is and why it's actually useful for their business. You see, when I showed up in Australia, I knew no one, and I tried to look for ways for me to be, out there and be known for the things that I was going to maybe create money off of. And I kid you not, publicity was one of the things that actually leveraged and catapulted my, breaking into the market. If you look out online, I've got pictures of me and my family, pictures of me being interviewed. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in mainstream media. Even being interviewed on a podcast, even being interviewed on social media reels and things of that nature. As long as you can borrow an audience that you never had before, you, my friend, you'll be, in a position to literally leverage your message and be found by people who would not have been able to find you prior. I think you've also noticed that there's a lot of coaches and consultants that have figured out the value of having PR as part of their marketing mix, and they've actually spent a lot of time staying on top of, some current trends and, strategies. There's people like Elon Musk who every single day he makes sure he's in the publicity circuit. There's people like Kim Kardashian who go out of their way to break the internet, even if it's nothing of note. They just make sure that people, they're top of mind when people get to know, about what's happening around them, and that actually increases, your brand awareness. And when people get to know you, they also get to know a little bit more about what it is that you do. And we all know that people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And the biggest thing that actually hurts a lot of business people is obscurity. People don't know you exist. You might be the best lawyer, you might be the best consultant, you might be the best accountant, but if people don't know of your existence, if you don't have a network that actually amplifies your message to markets that you were not going to be able to reach by yourself, then you're not going to be known out there, and your sales and your referrals will be far or less in between, and if you master how to actually generate free publicity for yourself, you, my friend, would have so much leverage that a lot of people don't quite know exists. And if you notice, all the coaches and consultants that have actually figured out how to have massive PR around them, they actually don't pay much, especially when it comes to their marketing. You know what I mean? And we see this all the time, by way of when some well-known businesses maybe advertise or launch a product, everybody already knows about them because of the publicity they've gathered in the background, and they have a unique way of keeping their current customers, informed, while also reaching out to new customers, in a while. So if you master the art of publicity as part of your communication strategy, you, my friend, will be actually head and shoulders above all the other coaches and consultants out there that are trying to do it by themselves. Okay. And guess what? Publicity is actually free marketing. Yes, it's free. Like, totally free. And did I say free? Yes, I actually did say free. And you know that we all love free things. If you win a customer through public relations or PR at zero spend, then your profit margin is already 100%. Okay, you haven't spent money to generate that lead. So when the media publish an article about you, or somebody mentions your work, it's another way for your message to reach a target audience that you would not have managed by yourself. So the media is already looking for stories, so that they keep their audience engaged, and they can then charge advertisers to advertise in those publications. So you want to find where you can be of value to a journalist who's looking to, put a story out there, how your quotes, how your input can actually help them make their job easier. And that's how you actually take advantage of public relations. And as you will notice in this podcast, we're going to be talking about how publicity helps you create brand awareness, how you can actually educate your market about any new products you might have, how you can literally build momentum towards maybe you're launching a new product, you might be having new consulting training information, or you might have a paid speaking gig coming up. If you take advantage of publicity, you may actually be able to reach out to so many people that would not have heard of you just because they're not in your network. And you obviously, the more people know about you, the more sales you can attract, and eventually you will be building and developing credibility within your current customers and future customers as a whole. Okay, so just because you don't know about it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. All right. So you might be missing out on, leveraging PR to actually create massive momentum to get people to be aware of your brand. Because one of the most important benefits of PR is just generating awareness for your brand. I mean, this can take in the shape, of you working with an influencer. You can gain coverage in maybe news media or you can actually start really growing your thought leadership profile or your personal brand. Okay, journalists are always looking for feel good stories. Journalists are always looking for human interest stories. What are you doing within your business that is actually helping other people have a happier existence that you can actually put out there? You know what I mean? There's a common saying that says that generating brand awareness is a marathon, not a sprint. So you need to know what is it that actually attracts the attention of journalists, and you start working towards them having an understanding of what it is that you do. You can start small, really, by being on a podcast, because once somebody records a podcast with you, guess what? That piece of, content is set in stone, all right? So their audience, no matter when that audience decides to listen to that podcast, you would have leveraged the power, of borrowing that audience that already trusts the podcast owner. Okay, and with the rise of online media, you can also be on other people's social media, and they would actually introduce you to their audience, because now you are borrowing the trust that they've already created with their audience. Okay, if you see on social media right now, just one good news story can actually increase your sales and the leads that you can generate overnight. So the benefits of having publicity as part of your marketing can both be maybe in the short term, where you actually get leads today, but also in the long term. Today, no, over the weekend, I actually received a lead from a platform that I did an interview with, and I think that was 2 years ago. Okay, so me and the platform owner sat down. He was asking me questions about my business, and I was giving value. And just 2 years after, I actually received a lead who I'm going to be following up with after this, podcast recording. So you never know when your leads are going to show up. You never know when people are going to listen to the podcast or read the blog that you, have been featured in. So it's important to make sure that, that you're gaining publicity for your brand in places that will actually allow potential customers to have a strong degree of interest and trust in what you're offering and why they should be having it. All right, you want to be part of the conversations, and you want to be part of the communities where you would then have easy referrals, just because people have heard you speak in a podcast or have watched a video that you've been interviewed by somebody that they already trust. Okay, and some people might be very scared of, putting themselves out there. I mean, you've probably heard of the term, any publicity is good publicity. That's because maybe getting your name in the press is one of the fastest ways for you to actually grow brand awareness. Some people might, hear a bad story about your business, and then eventually they go and check you out on your website, and maybe your website landing pages resonate with what it is that they are doing out there, and it actually starts to build the trust, in the business or brand that, you could not have done by yourself. All right. But however, you don't want to be known for the wrong things. All right. So there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to go about getting publicity. And I just want you to note and notice that it's better to keep your brand reputation squeaky clean. That way you don't have journalists investigating you, to find out what it is that you've done that's on the dodgy. Okay, especially when you're working with people's health, people's wealth, and people's relationships. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the person that has given people bad advice that has maybe ruined their health or ruined their relationships, or made people lose money. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're doing work that matters for people who care. And guess what? All the feel-good stories that then come and emanate out of the work that you're doing, especially as coaches, we do transformational work. So you can actually start putting out that transformational work out there so that people can get to know more about what it is that you're putting, into the world. So with publicity, and if you do it well, it actually helps you build trust in your business, and it builds trust in your brand, and people get to know you like you, and trust you. You see what publicity is? It's like a third party recommending your work. So if people already trust the newspaper or the blog that they are reading, and you come in there, that already is an endorsement, okay? Because they know that that publicity, that publication is not going to push brands or people that are not of note. All right, so if you can get a third party to publish a story about you, it's almost as good as word of mouth recommendations, in as much as that word of mouth is now set in stone. Unless somebody deletes that blog or deletes that podcast, whenever somebody comes across, or a potential customer comes across that piece of content, it is a gift that keeps on giving. All right, so that word of mouth is much more valuable than day-to-day people's word of mouth, because it keeps repeating the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. So whatever recommendation you are receiving actually starts building trust with your target market. And people tend to trust opinions of others. People tend to trust the opinions of people that have helped them with other situations before. So credible journalists have a status of being maybe an objective authority within their industry, and their specialist area of bringing information to people gives value, and that trust is then automatically transferred to you. And guess what? You actually start receiving traffic and leads to either your website or to your podcast or whatever online a property that you might have. Because if you're featured in a newspaper, people would want to check out what else you're doing, or how you're actually getting these results that you're being spoken about, because when people see something that they want more of that. And people are always looking for solutions that will actually make them happier, richer, thinner, and better than other people. And if by chance somebody speaks about the results that you're putting into the marketplace there, guess what? People will seek you out. Okay, so the reach of news sites and blog posts is enormous. You might have an audience, but a news publication has a bigger and wider audience. Some publications are national, some publications are international, and some publications are niche. So the people that actually read those newspapers are the right kind of people with the right kind of pain that your product and service can actually provide solutions for. So tabloids and newspapers, they have large numbers of people browsing their sites every day, and you can actually get exposure to a large audience. And an article about your business actually delivers organic traffic to your website, which is also great for your SEO results, because when people come to your site, they're not going to bounce off as what happens when people come from an advert. And I kid you not, people actually trust an organic story than an advert. So if you're spending thousands of dollars on ad spend, you might want to consider trying to bluster your work, or actually transfer that money to good PR instead of you just spraying and praying with your marketing. Okay, because you start getting inbound leads, and they will actually increase as long as your website lives up to the expectations of what your prospects that found you through reading about you online came from. And you want to make sure that you deliver on the promise that people are coming to achieve from you. So all these new leads hold a lot more value than the ones that you would have gained through your own marketing campaign, because it doesn't cost you anything. Like we mentioned earlier on, if somebody came to your website and you haven't paid for those eyeballs, then that's 100% profit margin on the work that you're doing. Now, wouldn't you want to reduce your marketing spend to $0? PR will be one of those things that will actually help you, leverage the work that you're already doing right now. And if it doesn't cost you anything to get people onto your website, wouldn't you want a lot more of that kind of traffic? Because these people already have the trust of where they're coming from, and they are the right kind of person with the right kind of pain, because nobody would worry about following through with the story if it wasn't of interest to them. All right, so it actually means that your sales conversion will actually go a lot higher. And the fact that you haven't actually paid to get this lead is something else. Okay, so some people might be like, oh, how do I get a lot more of these PR opportunities? Let me tell you, compounding works in this instance as well, because more PR begets more PR opportunities, right? So the more you are seen on podcasts, or you're heard in podcasts, people will be like, oh, I want him to speak on my podcast, I want him to write on my blog post as a guest blogger and things of that nature, all right? So the more you do it, the more it actually gets its own momentum, and the more it actually helps you generate more reasons for people to want to invite you to be a guest on their show and things of that nature. Because once your name is out there, is in the press, other media publications and journalists become aware of your story, and they would either maybe republish it to their own audiences, or even come to you to be involved in a related article that they might be writing, because already that trust that they have with other media publications, you're already vetted, you're already safe to them. So they would just maybe want to expand on an angle that they think the last host or the last journalist did not touch upon, and yet they're creating content for their audiences, and in the process you're also expanding your reach out there that you wouldn't have been able to do by yourself. Okay, so it's no longer a look at me type scenario. You are now having third party people endorsing you out there, and they're doing it for free, and the value of PR is directly linked to the reputation and reach of whatever publication has written about you. So you could, how people measure PR is how much would you have paid to advertise in the same publication. And there's magazines like the Rob Report, where you normally would maybe pay thousands or six-figure amounts, because you're advertising to an audience of a high net worth sort of capacity. And if you have a story of yours carried in the Rob Report, you would have paid $0 for you to achieve maybe $200,000 worth of publicity. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward whenever you are asked to show up, no matter how big the platform is. Just show up, because everything is recorded, and once it's recorded, that is set in stone. All right, so I see some people judging a small platform based on the numbers of reach and things like that. It's better to reach 10,000 people that are your right kind of people, than trying to reach 1 million people that wouldn't care any less about the existence of your business. All right, so you want to make sure that you are presenting yourself whenever somebody takes the time to interview you. All right, whether big platforms or small platforms, because small platforms will be big one day, and they hardly delete their content, and you don't want to be now on a big platform with mediocre representation of yourself. And half of the time they don't even care to try and correct anything, because that was that in the past. All right, so it doesn't matter whether big or small, you want to make sure you present yourself. But the bigger they are, and the bigger the following that the publicity outlet has, and the bigger the value of their story has in terms of maybe transferring the trust and awareness of your brand, right? So I don't think you need any more convincing whether PR would be the right way for you to start looking into your business. All right, depending on your business maturity and everything else, where you are. Have you identified your market, and have you clarified your message? Because if you have clarified your message, PR would now give you that opportunity to really amplify that message, and to actually showcase what it is that you can do to a wider audience that would have never seen you or heard of you. And not necessarily getting new customers, you can also develop credibility and the relationships with the people that you already have in your customer base. All right, because one of the key benefits of having publicity in your communications plan is the ability to develop a more intimate relationship, with the people that already know you. They would actually be proud that, oh my God, that's my accountant, that's my digital marketer, he's in the media, and they will be out there sharing that piece of content, and also, creating a buzz around your brand and things of that nature. So PR can actually allow you to interact, directly with your target audience from the start, and making sure that the right people are aware of your brand, especially if they're interested in whatever it is that you're doing. So by you, being seen in the public, there, a lot of people would also be wanting to be associated with your brand, and you can literally, leverage that, and really magnify your online presence, because having a business with a strong and active online presence these days is crucial. I mean, we've seen people increase the amount of time that they're spending on news sites, because they just want to be made aware of what's actually happening in their world. They want the news to help them make sense of the world around them. And if you can contribute to getting people seen in the public space there, man, it would actually, help you reach markets that you possibly wouldn't have been able to reach by yourself. And you get a lot more people being familiar with your business. So having publicity as part of your marketing mix actually allows you to be, proactive in promoting yourself online. Because if you have a piece of content that has been published about yourself, guess what? You'd be like sharing it far and wide. So, it actually then reaffirms those that are already dealing with you that, yes, they're with the right person that they're working with. All right. So if you're thinking of leveraging influencers and the media to boost your reputation, you can also check what we do, with our digital PR services, where we help you create a buzz around your brand that actually gets customers queuing at your doors using digital PR services. All right. So you can use our industry connections and team of talented publicists to attract positive PR that actually helps you grow your business. All right. I'll be putting the links to where you can get started on your journey with us and see how PR can actually help you create, that buzz around your brand and make it part of your marketing mix. And as we have established, if you get published, or if you get, that sort of notice in the public eye, you can actually lower your marketing spend to zero. And like I said, we've got a team of talented publicists that have skills to efficiently communicate with the public, both through a compelling digital or even the traditional public relations, medias. And we can actually tap into our relationships with media, online influencers, and bloggers to actually put your business front and center and creating a positive word of mouth that actually spreads like a fire. All right. So click one of the links that comes with this podcast so that we can actually start you on your journey. And one of the things that would happen when you start getting seen in the media is you actually create a positive company image that you wouldn't be able to do by yourself. All right. Because if people can see that third party endorsement, third party appreciation of your work, that actually puts that you in the forefront of the right kind of people with the right kind of pain. Because at the end of the day, when you're using PR, it's all about being proactive with your customer base. You are helping them make sense of the world around them, and also you are really staying competitive on a budget. Like I keep referring, free publicity, literally, gives you a lot more reach and tenacity in the message that you're putting out there than you would have had through advertising. So if you refine your marketing mix to actually best suit your company's interests, you can literally start improving your return of investment. Okay, you don't want to invest too heavily in something that is obviously not going to be paying you much. So you want to make sure your website, your message, everything is actually working well for you. Now, some people might be saying, well, that's well and truly good, but how do I get started? You see, there's so many ways for you to actually get started. And especially when you haven't really found, any success, it will be daunting. All right. So if you're in Australia, there's places like sourceabottle.com.au where you can literally, wait and find out if they are journalists that are looking for certain stories that are happening in the marketplace immediately. There's also an American version called Help a Reporter Out, all of those places journalists go to find sources. So you want to make sure you create a profile around those places. I'm not sort of endorsing them, but I'm just giving you ideas of how that can be possible. And when people, are asking for podcast guests, you want to be a part of that as well. The most important thing about having PR as part of your marketing mix is that, you literally are helping people bring content to their audiences. So what is it that a lot of that you would want, people to seek you out for? And then just create your profiles to match that. Create your social media profiles to show that you're available to be interviewed when people are searching for information, especially in the realm of what you do. All of those things are very crucial for you to actually start gathering publicity. And like I've mentioned, publicity should really be part of your marketing mix. Even though you don't know how to do it, find out what other people in your industry are doing, especially the ones that are seemingly always in the public eye and generating a lot more momentum about the work that it is that they're doing. So if you're looking to leverage this, just reach out to us. We can work with you hands-on, develop a strategic plan, and then deep dive and work through your ideal client clarity. Because if you're clear on who your target audience is, it will be clear on what platforms you want to be found on, and we can then sort out your strategic messaging so that people seek you out as the expert, and people can actually reach out to you so that you can literally help them create the content that they're looking for. And once you've done that, you, my friend, will be generating loads of traffic, loads of leads to your website on zero spend, because publicity in and of itself, you don't pay to be in the public eye. So that's why PR or public relations should be part of your business marketing strategy, because it literally reduces your ad spend or marketing budget to $0. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au